What's going on, everybody? It's me here, Zach, aka Jazzy Zen, bringing you the part 2 of How to Win More Mono Red Edition. For that, check out this super cool hat my girlfriend got me. A little mono red symbol. Sick. Alrighty, so today we're going to be talking about sideboarding and how that can actually make you win a lot more games. Before that, we need to understand what deck you're playing. We kind of went over like decks last time, but this time we're going to dive more into directly what your deck is, what its strengths are, and then why your sideboard is going to be different. So I'm going to keep my personal deck for last, but I'll show you two examples of another decks that people have recommended to me in my stream, and yeah, let's take a look at them. So here's apparently some pro players list. I don't know the name of the pro player, because I don't even know what pro player means in this game. But in terms of success, the guy said he was pretty successful on the ladder, and he has pretty standard Hellhound and Fervent as 4-ofs. He's got 4 Spike Fields, which I completely disagree with, but he's rocking them. He's got 2 Rebuke in the main. That's pretty cool. And he's got Crawling Parents, which I think is a sick tech card. Basically, when you're top decking lands over and over, you can at least pump a creature and then put your Embercleave on it if it is that late game and grindy, which most of the time it's not. So yeah, this is one type of mono red deck. I think it's more of like a spellcaster almost. Like when you're using a slot in here for these 4 Spikefield hazards, I think you're really, and the rebukes, I think you're really focusing on a lot of disruption on your opponent's side rather than complete aggression. So I like to call it a little spellcaster variant. I think another popular variant of that is this one. It recently got like first or second in a tournament or something like that. And I was looking at it and I really like this deck compared to the other one. Just for the sole fact that it is super focused. I feel like the other deck kind of flew around all over the place, had its weird little tech things. I think this really speaks to me as like a mono red deck. You got your 2 1-drops, 4-ofs, you got your 4-of of Shocks, your 2 2-drops, you got your 3 3-drops, a 2 of Torbrand, which is just the staple, your Embercleaves, and you have like 0 tap lands. The chance that you're playing this Ember tapped is so small that it's just like irrelevant. So I think this deck is very streamlined, very aggressive, and I think this deck will like get you really good results on ladder. That being said, I do think having 4 shocks is kind of unnecessary currently, and the 4 birds also might be a little too many, in my opinion. Um, that is just because a 3 mana 2/2 flyer doesn't do super much. I mean, it's basically a shock, and then they remove it, and then you're what? You paid 3 mana for a shock. Kind of sucks. And that being said, the shock, there just isn't that many targets right now that you're really looking for. Pre-ban, yeah, you wanted shocks, you wanted the Spikefield hazards, because you want to kill a Lotus Cobra real quick, so nothing was getting out of control. But now, in the healthy environment of the post-ban, you don't really need that early game removal so much, and I think that it can be put into the side deck, and you can have a more aggressive main deck. So let's go jump over to that first deck that we're looking at, the Pro Dudes list. And let's check out what he had in his sideboard. So he had 2 Claim the Firstborn, some red cap melees, some shield breakers, so you know it's kind of an old one, Vortex, Relic Robbers, Perfuro, Intervention. I think the Perforos intervention is really cool. I think it stacks up really well against Croxa. It's an easy way to have a kill spell that gets over the top of a lot of big creatures, and or gives you a really big trample dude that can get in for a kill. And I think that can be a pretty good sideboard card. Relic Robber and Rolling Vortex, they're really good against like the Bant Yorion decks where they're just controlling you, and it gives you an opportunity to get in and kind of just get in the extra damage and not let them heal, which is pretty sick. This was definitely for the Lucky Clovers, but that's no longer an issue. You could still sideboard it against a Great Henge, because that can really make you lose games really quick if that thing gets to continue going off. Definitely could increase or decrease or increase the red cap melee number. I mean, there's so many decks that just run Bone Crusher Giant just because it's so good. and other red creatures that it is definitely worthy of a spot inside your deck. And like claim the first board, I think it's for like mono green. You take a big guy, you put your cleave on it, swing at him, and then you put it back on your fervent champion. It's all right. It can win you a lot of games, especially getting like a Croxa. You can definitely swing hard into the opponent. Um, so yeah, these kind of decks, it looks like they have um, a lot of removal in the side, and then as well as controlling life totals, which is pretty cool. Um, and I think that is a good strategy right now, for the most part. However, with my personal deck, I recently went 4-0 in a tournament that is to enter into another tournament, the Week of Wings tournament kind of dealio, uh, which I went 4-0, didn't lose a single game. I recently climbed to 258 in Mythic with this deck that I'm about to show you, and I think personally that this style of mono red deck is the best one, and I'll go into explaining why. So let's check out the Z-Boy Original 1. Alrighty, so right off the bat, one thing is different from my deck than everyone's. I run 3 1-drops, and I've always kind of liked having 3 1-drops. Last season, before the Zendikar came out and the rotation, almost every single mono red deck ran 3 1-drops. And then all of a sudden, with the new set, it stopped. And I didn't really understand that. A lot of people started putting in shocks and spike field hazards. And for me, it felt like my Embercleave was just non existent. I had no way of playing it on curve often. Like your whole point of playing mono red is getting in as fast as possible, cleaving them, and then you win. As an example, yesterday in the tournament, I won every single match in like 4 minutes, and I had to wait an hour each time. And the other decks they can win, but it just doesn't seem like it's as focused on winning with the Embercleave. Their game plan just seems not as streamlined as mine, I would say. I want to get in, and I want to get in hard, and I want to get in fast, and I want to win quick. And I don't think you need removal to do that. I think you just need your creatures. And so that's why I have the 3 1-drops. I have 2 shocks just because there are some really annoying things that can pop up here and there, and it works really well with your Fervent Champion. If you want to trade with like a Bone Crusher or something, you can just kill a Bone Crusher that way. There's a whole bunch of creatures you can kill with Shock and Fervent Champion. That makes it worthy of being included much more than the Spikefield Hazard. Um, Alrighty. I also run 3 Shatter Skull Smashing. I've been back and forth on this card, but lately I really think it's super good. Like, there's so many times where if you were to draw a mountain or that later on in the game, that will win you the game, and a mountain would just cause you to lose. So I really think that this card is super strong and definitely should be included. I don't like 4 of them. Comes up too often, and you're taking a lot of damage, but 3 of them is pretty sick. Um, I do like Phoenix of Ash, 2 of in the main deck, because mainly you want some kind of counter to the meta, and I think Phoenix of Ash really does a good job against rogues. And seeing as there's so many rogues running around there, having that at your hand really is a useful tool to have inside your deck. It also works really well against like control decks because oftentimes they have so much removal that they just keep on killing your creatures, which is great for Phoenix Bash because it can just keep on coming back. So it keeps you having the juice you need to beat out the control decks. And then just the normal lands over here. My sideboard differs a little bit more than most people. Have the red cap melees. I also have the Scorching Dragonfires. I think these 2 together go into like a lot of sideboards. I basically put in all 5 of those for the mono red matchup, or I'll put in like in the Gruul matchup, I'll put in those 2, and just so many matchups do you put into Scorching Dragonfire. Against rogues, you want to put it in there. Against like Reanimator, like mono black decks, you want it in there. You want in the mono red especially, so you can kill Annex. Like there's so many decks that you want to be running that against right now in the sideboard that it's too good to not have. I have a Phoenix Ash and two Ox of Agonis just for rogues. I'll sight in these two, the Phoenix and the Scorching Dragonfires, just to like absolutely counter them as much as possible. 2 mana, what are this guy's stats? 2 mana, 5/3, draw 3 cards. Insane. And against rogues, you just put a cleave on it, you win so quick. They have nothing that can stop that. Um, and I have these two in here. I've seen Valaka Exploration on a few lists. I think it's really good in the grindy matchups where you need the extra value to be able to beat these decks, especially when they're like counterspell or kill card heavy, um, because then it gives you so many more options to play out things while burning them if you like perhaps get another land or something like that happens. So I think it offers you so much utility that it is such a good in those grindy matchups. Um, Last but not least, we got the Soul Seer. Now this is my tech card against green. Anything with green, I basically put this in. And there's been a lot of green decks with indestructible creatures, the wolf that fights you. This just gets rid of it. It just does. It beats it up. This gets rid of Lovestruck Beast, which is so hard for mono red to deal with. You're sitting around for like 2-3 turns, hoping you get a cleaver and annex that can get over it, supposing they don't like fight your creature and you just die. So I think this card is not getting enough representation right now, and I think it is a really strong sideboard card for mono red at least to deal with these big creatures. Um, it also is really good against Winota because you kill their indestructible creatures that come in, and for 3 mana, like nothing else can really do it for you. So I think this is a really good instant card removal um, for mono red. So far in these videos, we've talked about kind of like the idea of mono red. We've been talking about the different kinds of mono red decks in standard. We discussed sideboard cards that you could choose, why you would choose them, kind of what they're good against in a little bit of detail. On the next episode, I'm going to really dive into the matchups and what you should be citing, when, why, kind of details next time. I was going to do that for this video, but seeing as current bans happen and the meta is changing like every hour basically, green, white, Yorion, food, green decks, Rakdos not being as good as people thought it was, like things are going crazy and it's going to take a little bit of time to solve things out. That being said, I have a pretty good start and I'll probably upload some sort of image or like Google Doc or something so everybody can check it out when it's all finished. Probably be done sometime this week, seeing as there's a big tournament I'm entered in this weekend and I'd like to use it myself. So hopefully I can get that to you guys so it can help you ladder up and know kind of what you should be doing against certain matchups. Thanks again for watching, guys, and if you are enjoying these kind of educational videos, let me know. Leave a like, leave a comment, something like that. And if you have any questions, you want like answers right now, just come hop into my Twitch chat, ask away. I'm totally down to help you with the deck or talk about the meta, anything like that. Questions about sideboarding or like why certain decks are good. Totally down to talk about it. You can find out when I'm going live on the stream by following me on Twitter. And yeah, I hope we all can get better at this game. So see you guys later.